Welcome to Rissabae's Classroom, where we invest in our future leaders. I am the one and only Rissabae, here with another lesson for you today. So today we're going to be learning about how to multiply fractions. Now I know when you hear the words multiplying and fractions in the same sentence, you're probably like, oh my God! But trust me, it's not that bad. It's actually easier than adding and subtracting because it's less steps. Now, if you follow these tips and tricks that I have for you, then you should be able to be just fine when it comes to multiplying and dividing your fractions. So today, like I said, we're going to focus on just the multiplying fractions part. So without further ado, let's get started. So today we're going to look at 3 different ways to multiply fractions. But before we get started, let's take a look at some of these fractions and some of the vocabulary words that go with these fractions. In this first fraction, we have a whole number, which is our number 5, and then we have our fraction 3/5. Remember, the 3 is called a numerator, and the 5 is called your denominator. The 3 represents a part, whereas the 5 represents the whole. So this 5 represents a whole, meaning if I had a pie that had 5 pieces, what you're telling me is that I came and ate 3 pieces, which is on the top, and the whole pie wasn't eaten. There's still 2 pieces left in that pie, okay? So this is called our part, this is called our whole, and this is just our whole number. This is like saying we have 5 pies all together, okay? So this is our whole number times our fraction. The next way that we can multiply fractions, we have our fraction times our fraction. And then down here, we have our mixed number. Remember, a mixed number is a whole number attached to a fraction. So we have a mixed number times a mixed number. And there's an extra step that we're going to have to do with the mixed number times a mixed number to help us be able to manipulate and solve that fraction, multiplying fraction easily. Okay, so first we're going to take a look at this one here where we have our whole number times our fraction. Now remember, we've learned in a previous lesson that every whole number has an imaginary 1 underneath it. So all whole numbers, they can become a fraction, right? Because the fraction bar or the division, we call that a division bar. So this represents divide. So 5 divided by 1 is 5. It has not changed its meaning or its answer. So we know that this represents division, which means that here is 5 over 1 times 3/5. So that's the first thing you want to do. You want to change the whole number into a fraction, because when you're multiplying fractions, all you need to do is multiply straight across. That is all you need to do. So what I like to do to kind of line it up nicely, I'll rewrite it down here as 5 over 1 times 3/5. And like I said, when you're multiplying fractions, you multiply straight across. Let's write that down in our notes. We're going to multiply straight across. Okay? We're going to multiply straight across. So 5 times 3 is 15. We have our fraction bar. Then 1 times 5 is 5. Now remember, this is called an improper fraction. So when we have an improper fraction, it's very important that we change it into a mixed number or a whole number, depending on what we get. 15 divided by 5 is going to equal 3. All right, so just as a quick recap, we took our whole number, we put it over 1, we times it by our fraction, we rewrote it to kind of make it even, and then when we noticed that we had an improper fraction, we divided. Another way you divide, right, you can do this, and we know that's going to equal 3. Same thing, okay? So just making sure we remember that. And then when we did that, we got an answer of 3. So that's going to be the first one. We're going to go ahead and jump into our second one here now. Now for the second example, we're going to do what we did towards the end of the first example, which is we're going to multiply straight across. So let's bring our example down here into our workstation. Make sure you're taking your notes. We have 3/5 times 2/7. Okay? And we're going to take this and multiply it straight across. So we know 3 times 2 is 6, and 5 times 7 is 35. Simple as that. All you're doing is literally just multiplying straight across. You're just following the rules on that one. All right, now let's take a look at this third example. Now with this third example, what we're going to want to do is take our mixed number and turn it into an improper fraction. And the way that we do that is using our improper fraction formula, denominator times whole number plus numerator. Once again, we have our denominator times our whole number plus our numerator. So here we have our denominator of 3. So we said we're going to take our denominator, we're going to times it by our whole number, which is 5. 3 times 5 is 15. And then we're going to be adding that to our numerator, which is 2. 15 plus 2, 17. So let's go ahead and write 17 on this side. And then remember, our denominator is not going to change. That's our whole. Remember, the 2 represents our part. So we have 17 over 3. Now we're going to multiply that by 2 times 2, which gives me 4, plus 1, which gives me 5. So we're going to have 5 over 2. Okay? Now, remember our formula for multiplying fractions. We're going to multiply straight across. Multiply straight across. Okay? So 17 times 5. So to find 17 times 5, you can use whatever multiplying strategies that you have. I will use the American Standard Algorithm for 17 times 5. So 7 times 5 is 35. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. So then we're going to put our 85 here. But as we all know, Rissabae likes to check her work. So I'm also going to throw this into a lattice box. For those who are not familiar with the lattice method, I've taught another lesson on lattice that was uploaded. So you can always go back and watch and re-watch how to multiply using our lattice method. Okay, and so here, since we have 2 numbers by 1 number, we're just going to split this box in half. 17 times 5. So we have 7 times 5, which is 35. 1 times 5 is 5. We're going to extend those lines going down. Then we're going to add. So we have 5. We're going to add. 5 plus 3 is 8. As we notice, we got the same answer. So, woo, kudos to us. Very good. We checked our work and made sure our answer was correct. And then 3 times 2, which is going to give us 6. Now, as we notice, this is an improper fraction. So we want to change this back into a mixed number. So let me create some space here. And let us go ahead and do division, because remember, the fraction bar represents division. So we're going to do some division to help us figure out this answer. We'll divide in 2 different ways. The first way we'll do is with long division. So we have, here we go. Remember our steps: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Again, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. All right, so we're going to divide first. 6 goes into 8 only 1 time. 1 times 6 is 6. Then we're going to subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. And then we're going to bring down that 5. 6 goes into 25. How many times, guys? Think about it. Time's up. 4. 6 times 4 is 24. And that's going to leave us with 1. Now remember, like I always say, think of a clock. We're going to start at 12 o'clock. 14 is going to be our whole number. 1 will be our numerator, and 6 will be our denominator. Because remember I told you, our denominator will not change, right? And so our answer will be 14/1/6, or 14/1/6. Okay, so that would be our answer to this multiplication problem. Now, I did tell you that we're going to check our work another way. We're going to use our box method to check our answer to make sure that we receive the same answer. Because remember, if something is off with one of our answers, we need to check our work again because we're human and we all make mistakes. But all right, we're going to use our box. We have 2 digits here. We have an 8. We have a 5. Remember, a digit is any number between 0 and 9. Okay? Same steps. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. All right. 6 goes into 8 one time. 1 times 6 is 6. Okay? 8 minus 6 is 2. We're going to roller coaster that 2 right on up next to that 5. Okay? And now we're going to say to ourselves, how many times can 6 go into 25? Like we discovered before, that was 4. Because 6 times 5 is 30, and 30 is way too big compared to 25. So we can't go bigger. We can only go either to that exact number or the one right under it, that's smaller. So 6 times 4 is 24, which leaves us with a remainder of 1. So like we got before, we have our 14. That's our whole number. 1, which is our remainder. And our denominator, which is 6. So we received the same answers. Woo! Go us! We did it! Right. So now we just learned 3 different ways on how to multiply fractions. I'm so proud of you. I'll see you in the wrap-up session. As always, guys, check me out at www.Rissabae'sClassroom.com. Check me out on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram at Rissabae'sClassroom. You guys stay smart, and I'll see you in the classroom. Bye.